If you asked me now, I couldn't tell you why I did it. Why I chose to put a big fucking streak of pink paint across the whole fucking piece. A big pink streak of piss across the whole pissing fucking painting. Fuck. Because, I'd inadvertently created like a line of action with the tentacles, the tendrils from beneath, which sort of flows accidentally into Murdered Falcon's. I almost called it Murdered Chicken. Murder Falcon's bandana strings or whatever. And I felt it would be cool to like highlight that with a big streak of pink, hot pink through the thing. And I thought, oh, cool, I could like incorporate that into the fucking thing and the painting. And then once I got this like dark red underpainting in, I actually really liked it as it was, and I wanted to leave it there and then just give that to the person that commissioned it. But I can only assume if I did that, if I was like, hey, here's your finished piece, they'd be like, no. And then they'd never buy anything from me again. And I feel silly. So I carried on painting it as any decent human bloody would. And ruined it. But stick around to the end. Make sure you watch to the end of the video to see if I do in fact incorporate that big pink streak into the piece of the thing. Spoilers, I didn't. Painting the Murder Falcon. I was aware of the character, but I'd never really given it too much time of me of looking at it or anything. The guy, but I like the art. I like the artist, and then in my research for this piece, I found out I actually do quite like the character, and I think I might even try to get hold of the book and read it. The basis of this is just sort of, in terms of painting, it's just matching colours. I came up with a pose. It was quite difficult actually, because I was never. I think with my own pieces, if it's like a Gun Viking or a Death Fist, coming up with a pose is a piece of piss, a piece of piss cake. Because it's just fucking whatever. It doesn't matter. It's Gun Viking, it's Death Fist. It's easy. Slap it down. It's fine. But when it's something like this, it's someone else's character. It's a commission for somebody. I feel like I've got to put the effort in to make it like exciting and dynamic and fucking wow. So it took quite a while to like figure out a decent pose and everything. And then I put in the guy character and his little van in the background because I felt like it needed something else. I can't just do one character because this is one of my bigger commissions. And the fella paid a fairly decent sum for it, so I felt like I got to put in something. So it's matching the colours, which isn't really too difficult. It's sort of bone-ish kind of colour for the falcon body. Sort of yellowy brown for the trousers, and as I always add blue into the metals that I use, not always but mostly, it was very convenient that his big metal arm is fucking blue, so that sort of works, doesn't it? And I like the big metal arm because it's quite like those fat chunky blocky shapes are quite fun to paint, where you get like two contrasting sides, like a really bright side and then a darker side. And I quite like the shadow that I managed to get in there, rather than like the heavily contrasted just black shadow. I quite like the like with the yellow stripes on his arm. I was quite happy with the fucking shadow and whatever that I got in there. I mean, most of this was largely taken from just pictures that I found online. That was my research. I didn't read the book. I just found some pictures online. I looked at a summary. I got the gist of it. There's a character and then he's in a band and it's not great. And then this fucking bird shows up and he's like, yeah, let's fucking go. Let's fight some shit. And in one picture there were some tentacles, and so I thought, cool. I like tentacles. I like porn. I love me some tentacle porn. It's not really relevant to this, but tentacles. It's all part of the fucking thing, innit? I was quite happy with the purple pink blend of the tentacles. Whoa! Hey! You might have noticed the jump there. I legitimately forgot to record. I painted his shoe and the guy and the van in the background. I forgot to record, which is actually a bit annoying because I was really happy with the shoe. Because normally if I paint like the underside of a shoe, I'll just paint fucking lines, either just horizontal lines or some fucking crisscross lines. And you know, consider it the bottom of a shoe. But since this is so like large and in your face, in fairly central in the piece, I actually, you know, referenced the underside of a Converse sneaker, which I guess is what the guy wears in the comic, the bird. And so I based it off of that. It's not exactly like it, but it's heavily based on. And I quite like the texture I got, and it's my favourite part of the painting, I think. It's just that fucking shoe. I'm really happy with this piece overall, though. There's a lot of layers to it. There is foreground, midground. There's like a couple of midground parts and then background bits, and the purple colour contrasting with the yellow clouds in the front. I was really happy with that. As I'm doing this, I'm adding in purple to, as you can see in the underarms and hands and stuff, just to sort of. And as I did that with the ground that the guy stood on, like the bluish ground, and then it's got bits of purple incorporated into it, so it blends into the sort of smoky clouds in the background a bit. And I'll do a similar thing with the base of the tentacles with the yellow clouds. Yeah, I'm really happy with the colours, the dynamism, contrasts, and the blending. All the stuff, all the bits of the. All of that. Oh, it's great, isn't it? This is painted on a thick paper. It's not a specific, like it's taken out of a pad of paper that it's called like multimedia art play paper or whatever. It's not like big fancy paper. It's just paper that's thick enough to hold paint. So if people ask about that, that's what that is. I keep my paint wet by using too much paint and putting water in it. And then more water if it starts to dry out, or fucking just spit into it like the filthy rat that I am. I blended in a bit of yellow with a bit of the pink for the tentacles to try to, you know, blend them a little bit. There really should be an underlighting to the whole of Murder Falcon, but I couldn't be fucked to like work out the lighting on that, so it doesn't matter. This lightning, like pow. I was pretty happy with the look of this. I think it's something like when the guy plays his music, it gives Murder Falcon power to fight monsters and shit. So I tried to show like that with the shit. You use like the colour and then a slightly lighter colour and then like a really like just white for the final lightning bits in the middle. If you look at lightsabers and then try and paint that, and that's basically how you paint like lightning and stuff. It's relatively simple considering it's quite an effective look, but it's quite an easy one to get. The outlines and shit, I was quite happy with making the robot arm look sort of rough and textured rather than smooth and shiny. I wanted it to look sort of battle worn and weathered, and then adding in outlines and shadows and shit with that super dark red that I usually use rather than a black. Much thinner lines and fewer lines on the background pieces, so they do blend into the background a bit more, and then really heavy lines on the foreground pieces like the shoe and legs and stuff. And then for the tentacles, I don't know, I think it shows a little bit, but I'm not sure quite how much it shows. I used a dark purple as opposed to a dark red, just to differentiate it from the rest of the piece, which I think works. I know it's there, even if the rest of you don't. And I'm again really happy with my use of outlines and stuff, not using too many outlines. Oh look, the tentacles look like gummy worms with the white highlights added onto them. Nice shiny gummy deliciousness. Yeah, really happy with my use of outlines. I don't feel I used too many outlines or too heavy outlines. I did a good sort of differentiation between the sort of fore and backgrounds and such. As I say, those highlights on the tentacles, making them look all gummy and squidgy, I think I'm quite happy with those. And yeah, overall, really happy with this piece. It took me quite a while I worked on it over several days with a gap in between because of like personal family reasons. But it's pretty fucking cool, isn't it? Look, brilliant! Look at that, and the pink streak is not really. I mean, there are traces of it, and you know, I'm happy for that much at least that there's traces of it in there. But it doesn't really matter, does it? It's just fucking doesn't. I mean, nothing matters. Fucking